for reading today. Starting a new group of chapters. Let me get this paused. Go back to that. All right, so in your digital classroom, open up the new.
Mine's going slow today.
Actually, I'll do present mode so it's a little bigger. Okay, so the quick write. Everybody have that opened up?
Yep.
It says, write about the time that you have lost someone close to you. Because do we know what's going to be happening in the story? What are they referring to here? Stella. Okay, so think about a time that you've lost someone close to you. I'll give you, do you think 4 minutes is enough time to do your quick write? 4 minutes.
Oh yeah.
finish up what you are typing right now. All right, so our vocabulary this time are the words shrouded. What's that word?
Shrouded.
Forage,
Forage.
venture,
Venture.
amplify.
Amplify.
Okay, and I looked in our vocabulary packet, and it does a better job of giving you synonyms to help you with this part. Better than, what was it, the last one? It was kind of confusing, wasn't it? All right, so now let's look at the fill in the blank parts. Now this is quite a few chapters, 49 through 63. Okay, so we'll be reading this for several days. Let's look at one here. Ivan tries to remember his past because, we're going to have to be listening for that. Why is it that he tries to remember his past? 2, after Stella dies, we're going to type what happens. 3, Ivan's parents named him Mud because there's a reason why his parents named him Mud. 4, Tag was, we're going to explain, tell who Tag was. And then 5, Helen was, we'll tell who Helen was once we find out in the story. As we are reading through this, do you see this bottom part on that first slide? It says character analysis. Compare, that means you're finding things that are the same, and contrast, that means you're finding things that are different. Yourself with one of the characters so far. So maybe you want to compare and contrast yourself to Ruby. Or maybe you want to compare and contrast yourself to Ivan. Or maybe Julia. Okay? It can be any of the main characters that we are reading about. And maybe you want to wait until we get a little further into these chapters to learn even more about those different characters before you do the comparing and contrasting yourself to that character. Let's go through the next slide quickly, and then we'll get started reading. The comprehension questions here. What promise had Ivan made to Stella before she died? Do we already know that? Yeah. Why does he regret making this promise? Do you know what regret means? Like you wish you wouldn't have done it, right? So why does Ivan wish he wouldn't have made that promise to Stella? We're going to find that out as we're reading through these chapters. And then it says use textual evidence to support your answer. So there's 2 things we're answering, right? What the promise was and why he regrets it, giving the specific reason from the story as to why he regrets it. Look at 2. What does Ivan remember about his past life? So obviously he's starting to have more memories from when he was younger, before he was in the domain. We're going to be writing that information down for 2. And then 3, what was life like for Ivan back when he first lived with Mac and Helen? Because remember we read about it that at the beginning. Was it at the beginning or was it in the other Ivan book? Maybe it was the other Ivan book. But his life was totally different when he lived with Mac and Helen. Do you remember who Mac is? Who is Mac?
The owner.
The owner of the mall. And we've heard Helen mentioned a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah.
The other one.
See, I'm getting it confused with the other book. Who do you think Helen is?
Ivan's healing mom.
Ivan's human mom. What do you think? Ivan's mom? Mac's wife.
Ivan's sister.
Okay. All right, so we're going to be introduced, obviously, to Helen in these chapters. And we're going to jot down what life was like for him when he lived with Mac and Helen. As we are reading through these chapters, we're going to work on all of these. We'll kind of keep it going so we aren't waiting until the very end to get it all done. We'll break it up into parts, okay? But look at the bottom where it says beyond. Do you see that box that has the different rectangles in it there? It says below, write 3 emotions. Do you guys know what emotions are?
Mm-hmm.
What's an example of an emotion, Lucas? Emotions, how you're feeling.
I feel
So maybe like sad. Okay. Would mad be an emotion? Would angry be an emotion? Would happy?
Yeah.
Would silly?
Mm-hmm.
What else? Do you think of something different? Frustrated. Bored. Okay.
I was going to say excited.
Excited. Did you forget it?
Yeah.
Scared.
Jealous.
Jealous. Frightened. Sad. Alone.
Joy.
Joyful. Okay. So as we are reading these chapters, 49 through 60, was it 63? Okay. We're going to write 3 emotions. So one emotion goes in this box, the second one goes in this box, and the third one in that box. How Ivan is feeling just in these chapters, 49 through 63. And then we have to explain the reason behind each emotion down in this box. So if you say Ivan is sad, you have to tell why you think he is sad from what we're reading. Or if you think Ivan is excited about something, you would put excited, and then in the reason tell why from the story. What makes you think he might be excited? Okay? All right, go ahead and get your Ivan books. Chapter 49 is on page 114 in case your bookmark slipped out. Can't talk today. If you need a mask break, pull it down since we're all at our own seats. All right, so chapter 49 is knowing. Before Mac, before Bob, even before Ruby, I know that Stella is gone. I know it the way you know that summer is over and winter is on its way. I just know. Stella once teased me that elephants are superior because they feel more joy and more grief than apes. Your gorilla hearts are made of ice, Ivan, she said, her eyes glittering. Ours are made of fire. Right now, I would give all the yogurt raisins in all the world for a heart made of ice. What does he mean by that? What do you think it means to have a heart made of ice? They're using some figurative language there. They're comparing a gorilla's heart to being made of ice, whereas the elephant's hearts are made of, what'd you say, fire? What does that mean, though? Connor?
I think an ice heart means like you're sad.
Okay. What do you think?
I think a nice heart means like it's solid, like cares and
Okay.
loving.
What she's meaning by that is if you have a heart of ice, are we paying attention, friends, or are we doing other things? If you have a heart of ice, you don't really have emotions. You don't have a lot of feelings one way or the other about things. Do you think that he really does have a heart of ice?
No.
He says, right now I would give all the yogurt raisins in all the world for a heart made of ice. Why would he want a heart made of ice where he couldn't feel anything or have any emotions? Because what has happened?
Maybe so he doesn't feel really sad about Stella dying.
I would agree with that. Would you? Is he feeling pretty sad and down about Stella dying? And he kind of wishes that he wouldn't have that sad feeling? That's kind of what it's saying to me. Chapter 50 is really, really long. Do you see it on page 115?
Yeah.
5 men. It's 2 whole sentences.
Oh.
Bob heard a rat, a reliable sort, that they tossed heard from a rat, a reliable sort, that they tossed Stella's body into a garbage truck. It took 5 men and a forklift. How's that making Ivan feel still?
Very
Very
sad.
sad? Just to just throw her away like a piece of trash? Haley?
Kind of making me feel mad at the 5 men because like Stella was a really good outfit and a good
So
friend.
could he be having 2 feelings at the same time? Could you be sad, but also be like mad or angry?
Yeah.
Sad because probably like one of his best friends is gone, right? But then angry because she was just thrown out like garbage?
Yeah.
Makes sense to me too. All right, the next chapter is comfort. All day I try to comfort Ruby, but what can I say? That Stella had a good and happy life? That she lived as she was meant to live? That she died with those who loved her most nearby? At least the last is true. Which part of that is he saying is the true part? Jenny?
That she died with those who loved her most nearby.
Right, because did Bob love Stella?
Yeah.
Did Ruby?
Yeah.
Did Ivan?
Yeah.
Even if Julia was around, did she love Stella too?
Yeah.
Okay. But Ivan's saying, I can't say that she had a good life because she really didn't. If you're trapped in a domain, do you think it's a great life?
No.
If you're forced to be part of a circus or live in a mall, would that be a great life?
No.
No. So he doesn't know what to say to Ruby. Is he a little frustrated probably?
Yeah.
Irritated?
Yeah.
Maybe so. Let's look at the chapter of crying. Julia cries all evening while her father sweeps and mops and dusts and cleans the toilet. When George sees Mac, he runs to him. I can only hear a few of his words. Vet, should have, wrong. Mac shrugs. His shoulders droop. He leaves without a word. When George wipes the fingerprints off my glass, his cheeks are wet. He doesn't meet my eyes. What has he told us about George right there? He didn't tell us specifically, but what do we know about George based on what Ivan has told us? Amy?
He's really sad that Stella is gone.
Okay. What else does he tell us without actually telling us, besides that he's sad?
That
He's crying. How do you know that?
Because his cheeks are wet.
All right. The next chapter. The one and only Ivan. When all the humans have left, I send Bob to check on Ruby. How is she? I ask when he returns. She was shivering, Bob says. I tried to cover her with hay, and I told her not to worry because you were going to save her. I glare at him. Show me a glare. Is it a friendly look or kind of an angry look? You told her that? You promised Stella. Bob lowers his head. I wanted to make the kid feel better. I shouldn't have made that promise, Bob. I just wanted... I point to Stella's domain, and for a moment, it seems like I've forgotten how to breathe. I wanted to make Stella happy, I guess. But I can't save Ruby. I can't even save myself. I flop onto my back. The cement is always cold, but tonight it hurts. Bob leaps onto my belly. You are the one and only Ivan, he says, mighty Silverback. He licks my chin, and he's not even checking for leftovers. Say it, Bob commands. I look away. Say it, Ivan. I don't answer, so Bob licks my nose until I can't stand it any longer. I am the one and only Ivan, I mutter. Don't you ever forget it, he says. When I gaze at the food court skylight, the moon Stella loved is shrouded in clouds. Oh, there's our vocabulary word. Shrouded in clouds. The moon is shrouded in clouds. What do you think that means?
So
What do you think? Like covered? Do you think shrouded could be covered?
Part left. Partly, can't really see part of it.
Okay. Let's look at question 1 here. Could we go ahead and answer this? Let's put our bookmarks in there. Could we go ahead and answer 1? What promise had Ivan made to Stella before she died? Do you remember what it was?
Yes.
Go ahead and type your answer in there for that first question. What promise had Ivan made to Stella before she died? Once you have that first question answered, just put your hands in your lap for me, then I'll know when you're finished. Okay, now thinking about the second question that's on there. Why does he regret making this promise? Looking back at pages 118. Yeah, 118. So, regret. Why is he wishing that he wouldn't have made that promise? Do you see the last paragraph on page 118?
Mm-hmm.
Let's read that together. I shouldn't have made that promise, Bob. I just wanted. I point to Stella's domain, and for a moment, it seems like I've forgotten how to breathe. I wanted to make Stella happy, I guess, but I can't save Ruby. I can't even save myself. So what could we answer for why does he regret making that promise to Stella? What does that paragraph tell us? Jenny?
He didn't want to make the promise because he couldn't save himself, so how can he save Ruby?
Okay, I agree with that. He thinks he can't even save himself, so how is he going to save Ruby? What else did we find out in that paragraph about why he regrets it? Haley?
That he didn't really want to make the promise, he just did it to make Stella happy.
Okay, he was just trying to make Stella happy. And so he's regretting that. And because how's he going to save an elephant when he can't save himself? Okay, so what we just talked about, those different ideas, turn that into your own information and type your second part of the question 1 answer. I'm gonna have you do one more typing thing. Down in the emotion box, down in the emotion box, can you think of an emotion that Ivan is experiencing right now? I want you to type that word, how he's feeling, in this top box. And then tell why he is feeling that way at this point in the story. Okay? So we're just going to do one of those emotions right now for Ivan. Once you have this part completed, in addition to one, go ahead and close your Chromebooks. We've done a lot of typing. You may set your Chromebook in your crate for right now, yes. But finish up your thinking before you close your Chromebook. Let's look at 121. Once upon a time, all night, Ruby moans and sniffles. I pace my domain. I don't want to fall asleep in case she needs something. Ivan, Bob says gently, get some sleep, please, for your sake and for mine. Bob can't sleep unless he is on my stomach. I hear a stirring. Ivan, Ruby calls. I rush to the window. Ruby, are you all right? I miss Aunt Stella, Ruby sobs. And I miss my mom and my sisters and my aunts and my cousins too. I know, I say, because it's all I can think of. Ruby sniffles. I can't sleep. Do you know any stories the way Aunt Stella did? Not really, I admit. Stories were Stella's specialty. Tell me a story about when you were little, Ruby pleads. She puts her trunk between the bars. Please, Ivan? I scratch the back of my head. I don't remember things, Ruby, I admit. It's true, Bob says, trying to be helpful. Ivan has a terrible memory. He's the opposite of an elephant. Ruby lets out a long, shivery breath. Oh well, that's That's okay. Night, Ivan and Bob. I listened to Ruby's soft sobs for long, horrible minutes. Then I hear myself saying, once upon a time there was a gorilla named Ivan, and slowly and deliberately I try to remember. What's he gonna tell her? A story about what? Connor?
I think this is where it gets this is where we get the questions from here because I think this is where he remembers his past and he actually tells the story.
Okay, if you didn't hear Connor, he said, I think this is where he remembers his past and he's telling that story. All right, so I think we will stop there for today. So go ahead and put your bookmark between pages 122 and 123. Okay, we'll be able to continue to work on these questions probably tomorrow. I'm guessing we'll find out what he remembers about his past and we'll add it to that.